People have been asking me for a video of my newest toy. Well, I say newest, it's not anymore. This is the power hammer that I bought earlier in the summer. It's a DP120 made by a blacksmith up in Gloucestershire called Dave Preston. If you have a look on Facebook or YouTube, you should be able to find a couple of references to that. It's a 30 kilo top weight, so the bit that goes up and down, the hammer, for those that don't know, is 30 kilos in weight. It's a tyre hammer, which means that you've got a small motor which drives a small wheel running against that big tyre at the top there you can see. It's a friction drive. I'll show you that around the other side in a minute. This is actually Dave's own workshop workhorse that he sold me at a discounted price. Cheers, Dave. When he builds these for sale, he makes the anvil post out of 6-inch flame cut plate. If you have a look down there, you can see that this one is made from whatever he had lying around the workshop, just welded up to make something supportive. Really doesn't bother me, doesn't make it work any better or worse. I don't need it to be pretty, I just need it to do its job. The two random bits of box section welded to the side there are lifting bars that Dave put on there so I could get it on and off the pallet when he had it delivered. They're staying on there until I decide exactly where it is. Where it's going to be put in the workshop. A couple of short clips coming up in a while that quite clearly show it moving around as I use it. But at the moment it's just held to the ground with 4 10-inch long spikes that go through some M12 bolt holes. So it really isn't that unstable, despite what it might appear. The foot treadle is connected to a rod which is just about visible against the back piece. And you see that T-handle, that adjusts the position on the rod. I'll show you that in a second. One of the key selling points of this hammer for a lot of people is the fact that its headstock moves up and down the back column. It's based on a junkyard hammer from America, where they build them out of RSJs and just scrap welded together. With this one, because the headstock moves up and down on the back via that little bottle jack, it means that you can adjust the height of the stroke. So, because the hammer is whizzing around in a circle, as it gets to the bottom of its stroke, via an eccentric linkage, which I can zoom into in a second, you get an optimum point in its stroke, where you get the most whack. You get a whipping effect, like when you swing a hammer fast. But of course, if you're striking something that's only 10mm thick, you want it at an optimum whacking height of a different height to if you're working on something that's 100mm thick. The joy of this is that you can move the head all the way up to work on something much, much taller. So if I just walk over there and demonstrate that little fact, at the moment it's set to work on approximately 40mm thick stock. The optimum position is about 10mm above the point of impact by all accounts. So to raise it, first I undo my treadle. More important when lowering it, otherwise you bend the bar. Undo these 4 clamps. If I'm going up, jack it up. At some points I do reach the limit of the stroke on there, in which case I loosen the valve off, drop the bottle jack down, stick the block of wood under there, jack it up again. I've got a variety in increment of up to, I think, about 10 inches, or a foot, something like that. So that's the maximum on that stroke of that jack. That's where I want it. Brilliant. Let's go down a smidge. I actually want to set it up to 70mm. There we go. So I want it. Tighten those up. Just this. I'm ready to go. Okay, so this is the motor that I was talking about with the drive wheel. As you can see, you've got a small 4-inch diameter aluminium wheel attached to the motor. When I push the foot pedal, that moves the motor in contact with the tyre, turning the tyre, which has an eccentric linkage. I just illustrate that. Let me see. I'll also turn it on. Hopefully my solar power will hold out long enough to turn it on and work it, just to show you how quiet it is. Got to plug the bloody thing in. Okay, it's plugged in. Very quiet. There's a piece of red tape on there, just so I can see when the wheel is turning around or not, so I can't hear it over the noise of the forge or the generator. Push the pedal, comes into contact with the tyre. Okay, so it's not touching because it's too high, which is great if I don't want to hit whatever I'm working on. Probably a big health and safety no-no, but you can adjust the height without turning the motor off, which saves vital seconds. You've got to undo the clamp. Turn that off. Right. Okay. Lovely. Quite a lot of the noise you could hear is actually resonating through the box section. When it's all pegged down, it'll be considerably quieter. But even with all that wobbling about, it's a very quiet little machine, really. What else to say about it? So far, the only injury I've done to myself with it is bang my head on the corner of that bloody cage, which is there to safety's sake, so you don't hit yourself on things that are moving around at high speed. So I can't really complain too much. Yeah, it's brilliant. So I'll do a few bits because I'm working on some spears at the moment, so you'll get to see me working on a couple of spearheads and maybe a really big gouge. Bear in mind that everything I'm working on is tool steel rather than mild, so although this is a 30 kilo hammer, which isn't very big in terms of power hammers, it's having to move harder material than most blacksmiths would work on a daily basis. Alright.